So, we've got some oak trees here that are growing. This particular one that you see all these trunks on it, if you can work your way over there, there may even be some, there's one behind you, and pull a leaf off of it. And the leaf ought to be shaped like a little boat. Like a serving tray for peanuts at a party. There's two species in here. Get one that has the curled up leaves that you could use as a serving tray. What color are the hairs on the back of the surface?
Red.
Reddish brown. Now, growing in a scrub is kind of a desert environment. And this is an adaptation that the plant has to growing in this dry environment. The leaf is curled and covered with hairs on the bottom, and the only place this leaf has holes to let oxygen out and to let carbon dioxide in is on the bottom. So keeping it cupped over like that keeps it in the shade because it doesn't want to lose all of its water. Once you open those holes, the water from the roots starts evaporating, and the plant needs the water to photosynthesize. So how to hold on to the water and leave the holes underneath the leaf open is a challenge that the plants go through. When it gets real dry, they'll just have to close their holes and stop photosynthesizing because they need the water just to stay alive. And so during real dry periods, the plants don't grow because they can't afford to open the little holes, because then they'll lose all their water and die. So you got to have, you have to water your plants to keep them going. And they have to have water every day or every couple of days in order to keep the holes under their leaf open so they can get access to carbon dioxide and let the oxygen out. So that's one adaptation out here for growing in this dry environment. Another adaptation is all of these stems that you see sticking up here. How many do you think there are? 30, 40? They're probably all one tree. If you traced them down and underground, their roots would all be, from one tree. Anybody know any trees out west that do that? Any heard of them? With white bark? The aspen groves? How many people have seen an aspen grove?
I probably have, but
what color do the leaves turn in the fall?
Yellow.
Yellow. They're beautiful, aren't they? Well, that aspen grove is all one tree, and it just sends up different shoots. It's all one If you did a DNA test of all the trees in that grove, they'd all be the same individual.
Isn't there a tree that's taken over their environment out in Colorado, though?
Yeah, it's a lot of interesting problems. The elk like to eat the aspens. They'll eat the bark off the tree and kill the tree.
But there's like a tree that's out there that's mimicking it, but it's not an aspen.
And nothing springs to mind right now. But the elk have gotten so abundant in Yellowstone that there are no more aspen groves because they've chewed them all up. The little aspen trees come up about this high, and the elk chew them, and so they, it just looks like a bunch of sticks and shrubbery, and so they're having to they're opening Yellowstone back up to hunting for the elk so they can reduce the elk population. Wolves don't seem to be doing much control of the population. So it's a common adaptation that plants have to certain environments where they send up lots of shoots off of one organism. The advantage out here is when these woods burn, the oaks are killed all the way to the ground, but all that root stuff just sends up shoots immediately. And 6 months later, you have oaks, and then a year later, they're making acorns. And they make a lot more acorns because they've just been burned. They say, God, something's terribly wrong. We better reproduce. And they'll just come up with 100 to 1,000 times more acorns than they would if they weren't burned. The longer they go without being burned, the less and less acorns they produce. So periodic fire is necessary to increase their acorn production. There's another one behind the group there that's got shiny leaves, another oak tree. See how shiny their leaves are? And it's a different one. It's called myrtle oak. And when we walk by it, everybody grab a leaf and carry both of those leaves around. The myrtle oak that's shaped like a little ping pong paddle, and it's flat. And then the sand, which is kind of shaped like a boat, a canoe.